Hey everybody, and welcome back to Uru Complete Chronicles. We are here in our Relto hut, having completed the main portion of the game, Ages Beyond Mist, and now we're heading into the stuff that was created to wrap up what ended up being the failed online component of the game. So as I mentioned before, a lot of the conflict or the storyline that would inform the online component involved the DRC butting heads with Yisha's followers. And we actually did have some elements of that online in the prologue, as I think it was called, that took place before it was eventually taken down by Ubisoft. But the remainder of it was then put into this component, the expansion to Dunny. So the rest of it was put into the second expansion, the Path of the Shell, as well as Mist 5. End of Ages. So I'm going to go ahead and read this book right here. This is the book that we accidentally picked up earlier with the DRC symbol on it. And it appears to be another book that Yisha wrote, and it's headlined Agura and Bevan. There were some who came here thinking they could build a tree, but only a dead tree is built. Life cannot be assembled from remains. And now these builders are gone. What has happened to them? Are they now part of the remains, or have they become part of the tree? For the tree does grow. The great cavern breathes, voices in places in the great void. The call to continue their journey here. Building or growing, it's their choice. One new book, given to open up paths in the cavern, given to open up the origin, given to open up a glimpse of the future. The one new book that Yisha is referring to is the book that we haven't yet touched over here, or one of the two books we haven't yet touched here. This is Path of the Shell stuff. But the one she's talking about is this book. We haven't yet used this. This book is the book for Agura, and in it you can see all of the locations to which we've traveled so far. This is Sharper's Dunny office. That's one of the balconies. This is the Kadish Gallery. That's another balcony overlooking the area with Kadish Gallery. That's the Takota rooftop. But the book we want to use is this one. And actually, we have linked to a couple of places in this book already. This spot, which is the balcony overlooking this neighborhood, on which we found that stone with the mural showing the pillars. And then secondly, we've got this one, which is the balcony, or the rooftop, I should say, not the balcony, of this building in the neighborhood. So let's go to this link. This is the link we have not yet used. Alright, so this is the area that we saw below from the balcony way up high. I'm not sure if we can actually see that balcony from here. Let me see if I can look around. I think it might be up there. I'm not sure exactly where. Either up there or up here. It's somewhere here. But we are now in the neighborhood that we saw earlier. And in fact, there's a screen over here. Let's switch back to first person. And on the screen, we can actually see names. We can see ourselves. I'm not sure what this notation was here for us coming in early in the morning, because I was recording then, but I didn't remember coming to this exact spot back at that point. Or not recording, I was replaying the game at that point, but I don't remember coming here. Anyway, the rest of these people here, one of them is a familiar name, Douglas Sharper. The other names here, I believe, are users that were prominent people in the Uru Online community before the game shut down. I definitely remember Alloys and Lonely 225 from the Uru Obsession forums, which are now closed, sadly. But let's take a look around. Get back into third person. This seems to be a central plaza. This, I believe, was meant to be an imager on which you could upload images from your key. And then everyone that's a part of the neighborhood can effectively view each other's stuff that they encountered in game, which is pretty cool. I really like that a lot. So yeah, neighborhoods were meant to be a communal activity in Dunny, effectively. You could join a neighborhood. You can only be a part of one neighborhood, but you get to meet friends, and usually there was sort of a gimmick to the neighborhood, like, you know, there might be one that's part of a guild, or it might be one for people who are of a specific interest group, or something like that. I believe this room up here, this amphitheater-shaped area here, was meant to be sort of a community forum-type area where someone could stand at this lectern and deliver a message to everybody. And there's even a button here. Looks like somebody's speaking Dunny. But that's pretty much all we can make out. It's a very garbled recording. And it's probably from when this neighborhood was used back in before the fall of Dunny, so we can't really record over it, though, but at least we can see what it used to be used for, presumably. So yeah, this area is the area that is commonly referred to as Bevan, although Bevan is a term that grew to be used pretty much generically as another word for neighborhood. I'm not sure if it actually means neighborhood in Dunny, but usually when people referred to their Bevan in the context of the online game, it was used to refer to their neighborhood. And I think you were able to see the city from here, and maybe these lights were meant to be people or something like that. I'm not really sure. I don't think they were actually rendering real people there by doing that. Well, let's take a look around at some of this other stuff here. Actually, wait a minute, before we go down there, what's that sign up over here say? It says, "Welcome to Bevan. For more info, go to the classroom." Alright, we'll go there later. I'm just going to explore this systematically. So this area here, when this was active, this was meant to be used as a table for a game called Ioheek, I believe. It was commonly referred to as Heek, and it's basically a rock, paper, scissors game. That's all it was, really. And here we've got a garden, and there's a very cleverly concealed Relto page right there, which gives us something. We'll have to see what that's all about. Looks like a pond or something. Alright, so this seems to be just a path around the garden. Looks like there's supposed to be lights here that you can turn on, but we don't yet see the controls for those. There's a staircase up there, but I kind of want to explore this floor, see where this goes. I think that was meant to be used, like in-universe, that would have been somebody's house. You didn't actually have a home in the game, you just kind of pretended to, because that wouldn't have been enough for everybody who was a part of a neighborhood. I'm not sure if there were caps on membership for neighborhoods, but I believe this is actually where the stairs over here would have led to anyway. Yeah, it is. So yeah, we can go up here, and we have another landing area up here with a big Dunny clock. This is another thing that could differ from neighborhood to neighborhood. This, I think there could be other things in here besides a clock, or maybe not even anything at all. But this is an example of a Dunny clock, which is pretty cool. It's a very different type of clock than what we're normally used to. And I think we found those controls we were looking for. There we go. Get some light in here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Oh yeah, there we go. And it looks like this just leads right back to the opening area where the sign was, the area that we kind of passed by earlier. Alright, so this middle area seems to be where the remaining stuff is. So we need to figure out what's going on in here. First things first, we've got a door over here. There's actually another passageway, another set of stairs that go down. I think this actually leads back down to the opening area as well. You can hear a waterfall. Or no, this is the garden area. My bad. This is where we originally came up. So yeah, there's two ways to get up to this landing here. See, there's 2 doors here, but it seems like only one of them actually works. There's also some fire marbles there clanking on the ground. This one does not open. Yeah, you can see a white fire marble right there. We can kick it around. No purpose, it's just something you can do for fun. Alright, I think these are fire marbles too. Yeah. That's fun, but let's go over here. Alright, I think this is the classroom that we heard about earlier. Please avoid drinking the lake water, DRC. The DRC has your best interest in mind. Please only use approved linking books. Look for the stamp, DRC. Not to be that guy, but I think you mean please use only approved linking books. Top 10 book scores from yesterday are... Then we have a bunch of names here. I'm not sure what book scores were supposed to be. I think this was a game, but I don't know what the game was. There are several games in the cavern that you could participate in with people. The Dunny Restoration Council welcomes all new explorers. Remember, safety is number 1. Cones and blockades are for your protection. Please remind the reconstruction. Yeah, we've kind of ignored that in Greason, especially. Okay, so that's it. So let's see what's going on here. We've got a piece of paper here on the table. What's this all about? It's just a note in Dunny. Don't really know what any of that means. Alright, what does this say? Please link to the Greason Age to pick up your key. Welcome to Dunny. Well, we already picked up our key, so that's, thankfully that's already done. We don't have to worry about that. That's one reason why I wanted to do it first thing in the game, just to avoid having to retrace our steps. But I believe this room used to be a Dunny schoolroom, not unlike what Gen built in Riven. In fact, you'll notice here on the top of the this area here, you can see the Dunny alphabet, which he basically replicated in his own schoolroom in Riven. And then over here we can see the Dunny numbers. Although his method of teaching the Dunny numbers was a little more gruesome than what we're seeing here. Yeah, I believe that if you lived in the neighborhood, this is where your kids would go to learn stuff, so that's pretty cool. Alright. And the second thing we had was over here. We had this other room here that we haven't yet looked at. There's actually a couple of ways to get in here, and there's a book here. What's this door? A lot of different passages and stuff that weave through each other here. It kind of gets a little confusing, but it looks like this leads to the landing above the plaza out there, and that other path leads right up to the amphitheater area. So that's pretty neat. Alright, so let's go in here, and this slot here is something a little different. This looks like it's meant to take a key. Okay, it didn't really seem to do anything, but okay. Let's go check out what this book's all about here. This leads to a dark room. Alright, well let's take a look at that. Okay, we can hear a bunch of machinery making some cool rhythm there. I really love how rhythmic that is. Alright, there's a slot here that we can use our key in as well. Aha! So we've got a couple of different things here that we can pick. We can pick Bevan, and then this button lights up. And out pops out a book. We can also select this other thing that we haven't yet gone to, the ferry terminal. And out pops another book, and this one we definitely have not been to yet, because this linking image does not look familiar. So let's check that out. So this room that we just went into is something called the Nexus. We read about it earlier in the Key notebook in Greason. It's basically the hub that you can go to that's personalized for you, in which you plug in your key, and any location that you've registered on your key can be linked back to. So it's kind of a quick travel mechanism. And normally you would walk up to a pedestal like this, plug your key in to register, although we don't need to do that here because we already have this book, and then you could go to the Nexus from that location if you want to go somewhere else. So that's a pretty convenient way to get around. So this is the ferry terminal, the dock area in Agura, which is pretty cool. We're going to be seeing a lot of Dunny, as the name of the expansion suggests. So this is one of the most breathtaking sights. That's the King's Arch, or the Arch of Carath, over there. And up here we can actually see the dock areas over here, although there's not really anything for us to do here at the moment. So I'm just going to backtrack and retrace our steps. I'm going to explore this a little more fully later, and you'll see why I'm going to wait till later to do that. I will, however, show you what's up these stairs, and then one other thing after that. If you've read the Myst novels, even though they have a slightly different account of what Dunny is like, including the location of the city being in the Middle East instead of New Mexico, even if you've read about it and you've gotten a lot of the details, this is still a dream come true for a lot of Myst fans. So this landing area here is the base of the Great Stairs, I believe are what these are called. We cannot get up them with these barricades in the way, so we're going to have to find other ways to get through those. Of course, if this were me in real life, I would totally hop over those. Alright, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the area, or is it not this area? I know there's an area with a pub, or at least an abandoned one. I don't think it's this one. Alright, let's head back down to the terminal area. But there was a mention of a pub and Sharper's journal from earlier, and we will be seeing that later. Could it be through the rubble there? I don't think it is. We'll find it. We got a lot to explore here once we get going, and we have a little bit more freedom to look around. For now, though, let's go into this passage, which we ignored earlier. And this is the reason I ignored it, because we have a borrow stone here. It looks like this leads to Teledon based on that color scheme, so let's check that out. And this location, I'm not sure if this really exists in relation to a lot of other things that we can really notice here. It's kind of isolated from everything. Although, it's not quite as pointless as that stump thing that we saw earlier, because we've got a Relto page here, which adds something wooden to our age. We've also got this lever here, which seems to control one of those spore machines, but there's no lever attached to that base there. Alright, so let's go back to Relto. There's really nothing more for us to do here. But Teledon is in the right neighborhood, though, because we do have something else that we have to follow up on that we set aside earlier, and that is the other journal in Sharper's office from 2004. For now, though, let me look at the new things that we got here. It looks like we've gotten a new dock. And I think the other one was for other islands out in the distance, if I'm not mistaken. Although I'm not even going to try to get to them. I'm just going to leave them there for you guys to admire. I think that will be good. You can see the waterfall trickling off that area there, which is pretty cool. Oh, there are the islands. They're over there. Yeah, so you can totally jump around on these. I'm not really going to try, though. But it's pretty cool that they give you those. Alright. The journal is thankfully significantly shorter than the first one, so let me go to the Agora book. We should now have the ferry terminal link in here. Let's see if I can find it. Is it not here? Or can you only get to that through the Nexus? You can only get to that through the Nexus. Okay, that makes sense. I guess these are only links that you get through link stones or actual linking books that are not from the Nexus. Alright, so this journal will hopefully give us some more information about what's happened to the DRC in the meantime. So let's take a look at it. Douglas Sharper 04. It's even got the 2 Dunny emblem on it for the DRC logo. So let's read. This picks up pretty much where the last journal left off with the beginning of 2004. 123:04. Though seeing the Patriots go to another Super Bowl, and hopefully win, is obviously on my mind, compared to what I've returned to here in Dunny, what happened? I'm hearing that the DRC is leaving the whole thing behind. Watson is not returning. Kodama, Waxman, Sutherland, all of the little guys, Nick Simpson. I never saw it coming. Engberg even. They're claiming funds, but I wonder if it was something more than that. I thought I would have a lot to write today, but my mind is going everywhere. I've come to love the place. The offices, the creatures, the people, the game, even the DRC. I'm stunned. Is it really going to come to an end? 126:04. The disagreements of the past are no longer separating us, obviously. Had a good talk with Kodama and Laxman today. They are disappointed and saddened. Frustrated. Poor Laxman is still working on the keys. Says he's standardizing keys and implementing some kind of remote upgrade. Except for that, they are beginning to close things down. They seem to know what happened to Watson. Apparently he spoke to Kodama at least once, since that day long ago. Neither wanted to go. There, so I let it go. Regardless, there was a glint in their eyes. Maybe not too surprising for Laxman, but Kodama? The man never has an ounce of glint. Seems they have a journey they'd like to take. 1:30/2004. Laxman must have seen the light. Key lattice is going down to base features before he heads up. I'm heading up to the surface myself. Houston for the Super Bowl. Another championship is just what I need right now. I'll be back. 2/5/2004. Champions! Again! Not sure I could have asked for a better game regardless of the halftime debacle. I forgot about that, actually. I had to admit, though, I thought the big victory would be enough, but I still find myself troubled down here. 2/9/04. 2175.58.-81. What is it? A coordinate? And why is Zandy sending this thing out? The gathered will tell the path of the shell? What? Spoke with Nick last night. He's already heading back up to the northwest somewhere. I'd like to see the kid again someday. Good kid. I'll miss him. I think Fioka, I can't really quite read that, has left as well. Another good guy. 2/11/04. Went to the spy room today, and not quite the same anymore. I missed the intrigue and found myself saddened at the thought of it all going away. No reason to go through the trouble of making the backside secure again. Looking back, I realized how lax I was. Anyone could have found the book. I assumed the backside of Teledon was secure, but it obviously wasn't. Not if they were all seeing Shroomy. And to think, if there had been 2 of them, all they had to do was close the door, and their friend would have seen the book. I guess none of it matters now. Don't suppose anyone will be going to the slave caves anytime soon. Oh well. I'm a little ashamed that I'd forgotten about Phil. I suppose the surface trips, football games, and obviously events down here had caused me to forget about him. His Relto book was in the spy room. I paid the area a little visit. A memorial of sorts. I assume he is officially dead now, although I should ask the boys. 2/13/04. My god, I may have killed him. Is this... 2/28/04. There is no life here. Literally and figuratively. They're all gone. And I'm stuck alone with the thought that Phil may have died because of me. I've talked to a number of the DRC about it. They never found a body, but apparently a destroyed key was found at the bottom of where the precipice once stood. No one wanted to say it, but I've had the dream twice now. Phil standing up there, confident in his ability to return to his Relto at any time. The first crack. Still confident, enjoying the thrill. Another crack of stone, and the tower begins to break. He reaches down to grab the Relto book just to be ready. It's then he realizes it's gone. He turns to escape, but he's already falling. A cry for help that those who were there heard. He has no chance because I took the book. The rubble buries him forever. No. I have to believe it didn't happen that way. 3104. 2175.58.-81 has appeared on my desk again. I thought everyone was gone. Zandy? If I don't do anything else, I have to find this place before I leave here. I'm supposed to. Zandy wouldn't send it out if there wasn't a reason for it. If it is him, maybe I'll find some answers. Watson, Phil, the DRC, the failure. Do these coordinates hold the answers? 4/14/2018. Is someone else here? I'm not sure I'm alone anymore. I'm going to have to be careful. I think this will always be the date of when you're playing. So, normally, like if you were playing this when this came out, which was shortly after 3/1/2004, this would have been a date that wasn't quite as far into the future as it is right now. But this little journal here gives us a little bit of insight into the situation with Phil, which happened in-game, by the way. You could actually see Phil falling and everything, and then the whole debacle ended with his body being buried and not being found. So it looks like Sharper took his Relto book, not with malicious intent, but just for safekeeping, apparently. And that was pretty much what led to Phil's death, because he wasn't able to link back when he was falling from this tall precipice here. There's a couple of other things here that are really interesting as well. Aside from the fall of the DRC, and the fact that it seems like everyone's moving on, we've got this set of coordinates, which doesn't really mean anything to us at the moment, but we're going to have to keep an eye on what that could lead to. And on top of that, there's this other entry here about a spy room, and it appears to be accessible through Teledon, and specifically the Slave Caves. So we're going to have to take a look at what that's all about. But we're going to do that in the next video. So until then, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves today. If you did, you guys know what to do. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell so you can get notified of the next episode. But until then, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side.